Hello, my friends. This is Andy with the Andy Falco Show, and the title of today's show is The Lies and Chaos of AFT, NEA, CTA, and APLE Exposed. Yes, hey, this is Andy coming to you after a few weeks of, just laying in bed. My wife and I both got sick at the same time. All the kids got sick, just like many of you. We've been suffering from this respiratory issue that's come up, and it's been nasty. So I'm going to try to make it through without coughing too much. The chaos was exposed in many ways over the last couple of weeks, and the first one that comes to mind is at the last school board meeting at the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District. And so we'll be talking about that, and then the bigger exposure, especially of the AFT and the NEA and the CTA, in regards to a report that just came out from Congress in regard to the pandemic. And of course, us parents were right about everything, and that just doesn't stop. So that's what's great. But the exposure I want to talk about first is at the last school board meeting. And that is that I had requested a couple people that had not been to a school board meeting before. Everybody that I know hears me talking about them from time to time, whether it's in our home church or our community groups that we're in or our men's Bible study. And so they sometimes will think, well, maybe Andy's just hyperbolic. Maybe it's not as bad as he says it is. And I don't know why they think that, because anytime, they check something out, it usually is exactly what it is I told them, because I really hate being hyperbolic or, talking about things in a manner that people think that's just unbelievable. But yes, some things are truly unbelievable. But these parents go to the school board meeting a couple weeks ago, and exactly what it is, and even more so, the teachers union supporters and hacks, and many of them being retired teachers and retired principals and whatnot. 30 years ago, they could barely walk into the room without assistance. But there are the teachers that still work at PYL USD, and a couple other just crazy parents, for whatever reason, they support the teachers union, and people like Joey Davis, strangely enough, who is by far the worst principal we've ever had at PYL USD. And they came, they sat down, some of them in the middle of many of the teachers that currently work at PYL USD. And on the first break, I had two of them come up to me and say, "Oh my gosh, it is worse than what you said." I said, "What was?" She said, well, one of the women said, "They're crazy. These teachers are out of their minds, and they're demonic and just mean and nasty people. What is going on? And why do they act this way? They act like little children." And I said, "I've been trying to tell you." And they go, "Yeah, on social media, they try to blame everything on you guys, on the parents, and say the parents are out of control and they're extremists and all kind of stuff. You guys are sitting there, everything you do is for the kids." And I heard your message, and I heard everybody else's message. When a parent's up there, you can tell that everything they want is for what's best for kids. And they said, it just seems like whenever, the other side gets up there, it's about how much you're a horrible person, or how angry they are that they lost some type of power because they want nothing but destruction. And just that they're talking about how they want to fire Chernus, and how they want to fire, Dr. Beth Fisher, and they're whispering and snide little remarks. And when you went up there talking about me, they just were effing, saying the F word about you. And what's the worst part is that their parents, this again, they're not parents, they're teachers. This is what the parents tell me. The worst part is that I know these teachers, and my kids have been in their class, and now I see them here, and I'm scared for my kids. I'm afraid that my kids were in these classrooms. These people really seem to be unhinged. And then there was another parent who was a father, very much similar, the same thing, and says, he said, "I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you deal with these people. They have lost their ever-loving mind." And I'm going to try to make my way to more of these school board meetings. And so that exposure that we got at the last school board meeting was fantastic, in the sense that, hopefully we can get more and more parents coming to the school board meeting who, and I think in one case of the three people that I know that were there, either through invite by me or somebody else, one of them actually voted for Quintero, and I think possibly the other one voted for Anderson, and they wanted to take their vote back. They immediately came over and said, "Okay, I didn't believe you necessarily. I know that there's contention, but I really thought I really kind of believed what these teachers were telling me, and I'm sorry that I voted for Quintero and Anderson, and if I could take it back, I would. So, that's just some of the feedback. I know there were probably about 10 new parents or community members in the audience, and the report from the other parents that were there said that they had the same reaction, that they were surprised that it wasn't us after all, that it was in fact these lunatics from the teachers union. One of the funniest things that happened to me at that school board meeting, I thought, I mean, I'm used to all the booing and the, F you and you're a-hole and all the stuff that they say behind me. I can hear them saying these things while I'm talking. It does become a little bit distraction because I love actually hearing their comments, but then it's hard for me to remember what I was going to say. But one of the teachers, apparently, I think they're a teacher. I didn't recognize her. She probably is at one of the other schools that my kids don't go to. And I'm sitting in my chair, and she walks up. She's an idiot. And she walks up, and she whispers in my ear, there's teachers in the teachers union. And I went, and I looked at her, I go, no, really? I thought firemen were in the teachers union. And I said, that's good to know. I have no idea what she meant by that. It makes it makes no sense to me why she thought, and she said it with like, wow, I'm going to share something with this guy and it's going to blow him off his feet. and so, yes, I know teachers are in the teachers union, but I'm talking about the organization of the teachers union, the AFT and the NEA and the CTA and the APLE. The leadership, the people, because Linda Mannion doesn't even teach. She's been paid to teach for several years. We, the community, have been paying her hundreds of thousands of dollars. I would say probably $1 million so far to Linda Mannion, somewhere in that neighborhood, I'm pretty sure, to do nothing in regard to teaching kids. Thank God, actually. She's a lunatic, so we don't want her teaching our kids. But I don't know why we're paying her as a community. It makes absolutely no sense. We should sue her for that money back, because all she does has been ruining PYLUSD for the last several years, and yet we've been paying her to do that. And so those are the people that we're talking about, the leadership, the minions that support them, like the guy that went out and stole all the signs from Maria Lupita Stubbs. He's a teacher at PYLUSD. He spends more time supporting the teachers union than caring about teaching the kids, obviously, because he drove all the way from Costa Mesa on the orders of the Anderson campaign, most likely, to steal the signs that had Maria Lupita Stubbs on it. So this is the lunacy that was exposed to some parents that finally went. So because there's a number of us parents who go all the time. So we were fully aware of it. We talk about it all the time, but some people, I guess, believe that it can't necessarily be us. And so these are the candidates that were supported by the NEA, the CTA, and the APLE. I doubt that anybody was supported by the AFT, but and Planned Parenthood. But Marilyn and Quintero got through, and thank God Misty Jansen did not make it through. But these candidates and the people that ran their campaign say that they are extremely excited about them getting on the board. Why? Because they're giddy about dismantling it. So this is from obviously a few days ago, but it says T-minus 49 days until a new board and audits. Bet there are a few people feeling nervous. I hope the first step is auditing USI and OCSCS, BYMS. I am almost giddy. And then down in the comments, Daniel and Todd Botley, some of the craziest of the crazy say, I want them to know we are coming for them. I hope they are nervous. And then Janice D says, I hope Chernus gets fired. Pops over again to now Brittany Fricano. Christensen, she says that would be the best gift ever. Wow. I wonder what these people do. I mean, are they ever happy? Do they ever enjoy life? I just don't think so. All they think about is destruction and chaos and the dismantling of the school district for whatever reason. And then Danielle adds her little bit to Janice D and says, add the principal of BYMS, which is Dr. Beth Fisher, to that, and I am in. Time to cut out the cancer. So this is how they are. These are people in our community. I'm not quite sure if some of them have actually been teachers or not, but they have some odd members of our community that seemingly have children in the district or have had children in the district. And this is their life on how to dismantle, how to destroy, how to be as destructive as possible so that our kids simply can't get taught. The schools in California are 40th in the United States in education, 40th out of 50. And Danielle and Dee and all these other people seem to be extremely positive about being one of the last public school systems in the United States and with poor education. They seem to be happy when during the pandemic all the kids were masked and social distanced and were nearly forced to be vaccinated and forced to wear masks. And so this is the type of thing that seems to be happy. So it's really odd that we have not only teachers, a few of them, and we have some retired principals and vice principals, and again, a few parents that really just don't care about kids or families, that they're just solely interested in making sure that the Teachers Association, teachers unions are in power. There's nothing that can help me make sense of this of it all, is that this is what they prefer. They don't care. None of their mention, none of the things that they write about ever has to do with the education of kids or how it is we can change some programs and make them more fruitful for education, for growing, friendships between all the kids, and about how to make our grades go up and out of the basement as they have been for several years and declining. Nobody on their side, on the teachers union side, thinks that any of that stuff's important. What's more important to them is social issues and SEL and DEI and CRT and LGBTQ. That is way more important to them, apparently, than education and making sure that these schools are run in a way that's financially solid and with fiscal responsibility, so that the money that we spend is being used correctly towards education. They don't care about that. They want to make all kinds of claims so that they can close OCSC. That's one of their goals. So let me actually go to the list here. We got the CTA, APLE, Quintero, and Anderson hit list, which through social media, this is I acquired this list from social media, from their campaigns, from their social media posts, and from the people that supported them. So the first thing is parents' rights will be taken away, policy rescinded. So they don't like parents having their rights for their kids and decision making. They believe that Quintero and Anderson and the teachers union, they believe that they know more about our kids than we do, and they should have a say on whether they go and have an abortion perhaps, or maybe that they should have some type of sex change operation or some type of procedure. They believe that should not be in the hands of parents. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. CRT, DEI, SEL indoctrination will return. They hate the fact that we banned CRT a couple years ago, and so they vow to bring it back. They want Dr. Alex Chernis fired. They want Dr. Isaiah Gates fired. They want Dr. Renee Gray fired. They want Dr. Olivia Young fired. They want Dr. Beth Fisher fired. And any teacher who supported OCSCS and USI, they want fired. They want OCSCS closed and USI closed. That is their goal. And then thereby adding 2 years of chaos to our school district. So do you remember when the campaigns were running that they were telling everybody that Leandra Blades fired 100 teachers? That Leandra Blades fired 25 principals and vice principals. Remember when they told you all that? Of course, none of that was true. That was false. And so they were telling the community that was all happening. But now what they want to do is they want to make sure that it does happen. It wasn't happening when they say it was. They wanted you to believe that Dr. Chernis and Leandra and Sean Youngblood and Todd Frazier, they were all firing people. Needlessly. There were like 3 people that didn't have their contracts renewed, and that was it. But they wanted you to believe that everybody was being fired. But now when they come in, they actually want people fired. I thought they were upset if anybody got fired. So they were screaming and yelling and crying and having a hissy fit about something that was not happening, claiming people were being fired. But as they become now, the teachers union comes into power through Marilyn Anderson, Carrie Buck, and Tricia Quintero. Now they're demanding that everybody be fired. So they want everything that they said that you should vote against. They want it to happen now, which is really strange. Which is obviously these people again coming in. These are the knuckleheads. And so I bring this up because I want to show you, if you've forgotten, these people are all tied together. Look at these signs. These are 3 signs on one wall. If there's any doubt that, because Quintero, I'm going to talk about her in just a minute, but you have Quintero, Jensen, Anderson in that little white box underneath their names that says that these signs and the finances towards their campaigns was supplied for the APLE, which is essentially the CTA, the NEA, and of course the APLE, which are all teachers unions in the state of California. It's a cabal. They're all together. They all work together. They all have spent much time only being political. Now, again, you remember they had signs that says, "Stop the politicization of our school district." Yet the organization that just won is a political organization. They are the DNC. They are an arm of the DNC, the Democratic National Convention Committee, and they are responsible for installing the 3 people that are now in charge of our school board. So you've got the teachers union in charge of teachers, and now you have the teachers union in charge of our school board, and the teachers union is in charge of Sacramento. So our entire school district is the only people controlling everything that happens in our school district is going to be the teachers union. And that is what areas 1 and 2 voted for, strangely enough. I just don't understand how any parent who loves their child votes for the teachers union. It makes absolutely no sense. I can't wrap my head around it. You have children. Your responsibility is to take care of those children, to keep them safe, to keep them healthy, and you put them in the den of demonic, lunatic, crazy people who are creating laws and raising money and sending money and supporting campaigns that advocate for the kidnapping by the state of California of kids who are confused and have psychological problems that the state will then make the decision to have gender surgery, gender changing surgeries by cutting off their testicles, cutting off their breasts, hormone treatments, what have you, and making sure they get transitioned from being a boy to a girl or a girl to a boy to a dog or a girl to a cat. That those are the people that areas 1 and 2 voted for. For tampons in the bathrooms. You don't believe me? I know that people have said, that's not really happening. This is from the state of California Board of Education, the Menstrual Equity for All Acts, an updated handbook. What does that say? April 2024, K through 12, not 9 through 12. Not 7 through 12, but K through 12. So in elementary school, when children are not having periods, girls are not having periods, they're going to put tampons. What does it say here? People of different genders menstruate. No. These people are crazy. People of different genders do not menstruate. Women, females, girls, women, girls, females, they menstruate, not boys, not men. Although the law only requires menstrual products to be included in one men's restroom, providing menstrual products in all men's restrooms in addition to all women's and all gender restrooms increases menstrual product accessibility and transgender whatever. Nobody cares. None of this is real. This is all stupidity as it goes on. This is the NEA website, the National Educators Association website. This is their website. This is all they care about. Is making sure that there's tampons in boys' bathrooms, making sure that their website looks like a commercial for changing your gender and all these other weird names that they give it. Who knows what half this stuff means. They want to make sure that you get pornography in your libraries. This is what they do. And if there's any confusion about that, whether it's a political action committee, and these are the people that say, take politics out of our schools, and yet they give $725,000. Sorry, $725,000 to candidates. $27,761,000 to ballot measures, which is one of those ballot measures is making sure the state can take your kid if you don't affirm that they want to be a cat. And then there's other committees of $18 million. So somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 million is spent on political issues. Here's Marilyn Anderson's report on expenditures from the CTA, APLE, and this is just one of many, $8,851. And so, if there's any confusion or thought that they don't give to our these campaigns, here's the proof, and all of them have them. So stop with the nonsense, you dippies. Wow, that almost slipped out. That you want politics out of our schools when the organization that spends millions of dollars does nothing but put politics into the selection of the school board members. It is all about politics with them, yet they're telling everybody else to be to stay out of politics when it comes to our schools. If you have any other doubt, Proposition 47 in 2014 was the dumbest law on the planet that essentially legalized crime in the state of California with regard to shoplifting and prostitution and narcotics use and sales. Decriminalized it essentially, which has done nothing but destroy our state and really set like the city of San Francisco is on fire, San Diego's on fire, LA County, LA cities, Beverly Hills is even on fire because of this nonsense proposition where you can't find basic stuff at CVS anymore because most of them are closed, and other stores that sell such items, and you know who wrote that bill and who supported it financially? The California Teachers Association. Who'd they write it with? Kamala Harris. And so Kamala Harris and the California Teachers Association is responsible for the destruction of the city of California. Not just our educational system here in California, reduced it down to the 40th in all of the states, but it's caused just nothing but chaos. So we had this proposition come up in California during this election. It was Proposition 36, and it was to reverse Proposition 47 in 2014. And thank God it won. But look who opposed it. The CTA, California Teachers Association, opposed Proposition 36. Yeah. So the fact that you think that, the Teachers Association, they're so wonderful. No, they're not. Teachers are great. The Teachers Association, not so great. Here's a teacher that I told you about that he was stealing the signs, and union-backed board candidate Marilyn Anderson, supporter, went out there and started. This is a teacher at PYLUSD, was out there stealing signs for the candidate and for CTA APLE. So that's just really important that you understand. Now the last point, and I'll keep this quick. The report came out of Congress the other day that every parent that fought against the teachers union, that fought against at the time, the Placentia Yorba Unified School District, before Leander Blades got on, and Sean Youngblood, and the Orange and somewhat the Orange County's education Board of Education, is that we were telling them there is no science behind wearing masks. There's no science behind the partitions they were putting into schools. There's no science behind the social distancing. There's no science behind closing the schools. I would send in report after report to not only the PYLUSD, at the time it was El Sasser and Matthews, and I would send those same scientific studies to the Orange County Board of Education, and I would say, there's nothing. These are saying, the reports that I found and the scientific studies that I found said masks don't work, social distance, there's nothing about social distancing in regard to science. There's nothing that says that the partitions are going to stop anything. Are you kidding me? It's like saying when you sit down at a restaurant, you can take your mask off because everything's safe, but then when you stand up, you have to put a mask on because then it's not safe. It was the dumbest time in our entire life, that there were a number of people in our community that actually believed it. There are parents that were stupid enough to put masks on their kids. My kids got kicked out all the time for not having masks on their face, so they got sent home all the time when the schools reopened. And so who was dumb enough to believe all this nonsense? And on top of it, the actual science said masks are worthless. This actual science said distancing means nothing when it comes to this virus and many other viruses. The partitions and the plexiglass means nothing. And then we, I could all get into the vaccines and that kind of stuff, but I'm going to save that time. But the good news is, us parents, we were right, as we knew we were. I mean, it's not like a brain surgery. It's like saying, well, the virus came from a bat and a mangolin or whatever that thing was. No, nobody believed that. Even the idiots at the CTA didn't believe it. But they thought they didn't want to give any idea that the parents were right, that it came from the lab in Wuhan in China. That was facts, and everybody knew it. There was not a person that had a brain on their head that did not realize that it came from the lab in Wuhan. And yet the CTA, Randy Weingarten, the one of the biggest, she's 5150. She needs to be housed in a mental institution, along with the leader of the CTA. They both are out of their ever-loving minds. The leader, her name's escaping right now, she said that we need to close the Los Angeles School Police Department before any of the teachers will go back to school in the LA County Unified School District. That was a demand that she had and the LUSD had, and they closed the school. I mean, they closed the police department. Because why? What does you having law enforcement in your schools in the district have to do with COVID and returning back to school? These people are really, really crazy. Now, the point is that whatever reason, areas 1 and 2, parents in areas 1 and 2, who knows why, they're too busy, they're too lazy, they're too dumb. I don't know what it is, but they put the teachers union back on our school board. I don't know why. None of it makes any sense. These people have been wrong on everything. These people have shown that they dislike our children. They call parents terrorists. And yet they voted for those people and put Quintero and Anderson back on the school board, which is the teachers union, back on the school board, along with Carrie Buck, another lunatic. And here we are again. We're going to end up fighting and fighting, and we're not going away just because they won. And the last thing I told you I was going to talk about Quintero. We're not sure about Quintero now. There's some people that say, you know what, the time she spoke, she may not be fully in with the teachers union. I highly doubt that. I have heard her say that, I'm not necessarily going to vote for closing OCSCS or USI or firing of Chernus, Gates, and Dr. Beth Fisher. I heard her kind of mention something similar to that. I don't believe her. Her and Buck and Anderson were at the California School Board Association, which we fired from, or we quit, or we stopped paying dues. And so now they're obviously going to bring that back, which again is another leftist organization, political organization, has nothing to do with educating our kids. But there she is in that organization. All three of them are holding hands back to the School Board Association meeting, which is crazy that they're even doing that. But again, I will reserve a little bit for Quintero to see what she actually will do, because the letter that she paid a private investigator to follow me and find me and then serve me with papers at church, and the letter she wrote said something about that the taking of children from parents to have them gender affirming, which makes no sense. Gender affirming surgeries is kidnapping and mayhem and assault with a deadly weapon. She's right. She wrote in a letter, but she's also supported by the teachers union, who doesn't think that it's kidnapping, assault, and mayhem. So She's a little bit confusing, or maybe she's confused. So I'm not sure how that's all going to work, but I'm looking forward to it. All right, so that's my report for now. Again, sorry it took so long, but you wouldn't want to. You can hear my laugh now. Could you imagine what I sounded like a couple weeks ago or a week ago? It wasn't pretty. All right, my friends. Love you guys. God bless, and stay in the fight, parents. And those parents that have not been to school board meeting, come to the school board meeting and be very entertained by the lovers of the teachers union that show up there. They're crazy, and it's fairly fun to watch them at a school board meeting. All right, my friends. That's it. We'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.